So in our last video, we completely renovated our master bathroom. Today, we're doing a little bit of work in our master bedroom. Here's how the room looked when we first bought the house. These photos are actually from the Zillow listing. All the doors in the house were pretty beat up. The doorknob even looks like it was ripped out of this door, which is just crazy. A lot of the joint compound was also peeling off from the corners of the walls. By this point, what we had done to the room was replace the carpet with vinyl flooring, added LED lights in the ceiling. We also did a lot of drywall, patching, and retexturing the walls. We knew we wanted to put crown molding and baseboards throughout the whole room, but we just didn't want to do all of that just yet. So what we did was just install it onto one wall. After looking around, what we ended up going with for the accent wall material are these PVC lattice molding strips from Home Depot. We liked that they were only 1/4 inch thick. We do see a lot of people on YouTube using wood or MDF, so those are definitely cheaper options too. But we liked how these turned out and they're holding up pretty well. So with all of that out of the way, let's get started. We thought that we'd divide the wall up into 4 sections, so after using the strips to put a border around the wall, we measured the width of the inside area and divided it by 3. This gave us the measurement for the 3 vertical pieces that we needed. The vertical pencil marks that you see along the wall here are just us marking out the stud locations as well as the locations for the vertical pieces. To mount the molding onto the wall, I used a brad nailer and 1 1/4 inch brad nails. I also used the longest level that I had to make sure the pieces were as straight as possible. For the diagonal pieces, I just used a speed square to ensure the 45-degree angle. You could use a couple scrap pieces of molding that are cut to the same length as the spacing between your pieces and use them as spacers as you go along. But I just took measurements all along the way to make sure the spacing between them were consistent. As I put up the pieces, my wife followed right behind and filled the nail holes as well as any gaps between the pieces with spackle. This worked out great because as soon as I was done putting up the molding, I was able to sand everything down with the sanding block. I didn't use any glue to mount the molding. I did think about it, but I didn't want to make a mess of the drywall in case we ever had to take all the trim off, so we just did without it. We tested out a few paint colors. We wanted something almost black, so what we ended up going with was cracked pepper from Behr. To cut the strips to size, we just used our Ryobi miter saw. It can do straight cuts and angle cuts, which for the design that we went with, we only needed straight cuts for the vertical and horizontal pieces and 45-degree cuts for all the diagonal pieces. By the way, we did notice areas at the bottom where we could have put more molding. We liked that it looked more like a tree or leaf, so we just left it. After all the sanding was done, I just used a vacuum to clean up all the dust from the spackle. And then I went back and I filled all the corners with caulking. Kept the wet rag with me just to keep my finger wet. That really helps as you're gliding your finger across, pressing down on all the caulking. At this point, we were pretty much done, minus the paint. I rolled on 2 coats and came back with the brush for the touch-ups.